Sammy, I'm so glad you're on the show. We could talk forever, but I want to get into, what would be your Tuesday tips summary around police checks, background checks, and this kind of risk management mitigation balance versus volunteer barriers in general? What are your Tuesday tips on that?
Yeah, I'll kind of, it's all things I've talked about here. Really, a police check is not going to tell you about that person's personality, their behavior. It's not going to tell you if they're a bully or a jerk, like we've said. And also, a police check is really only going to capture information for when someone was caught for criminal activity. What we say, at least in the cases in Ontario where I am, someone could request a police check. The day they request it is when it's based on. They could go do a crime and get caught, and it won't show on the police check because it goes after they requested it. So it's a reminder that it's only a snapshot of whatever the system has captured. We know in Ontario, especially in Toronto, there's a higher likelihood that people of color, Indigenous folks, racialized folks, newcomers are more likely to be stopped on the street, to have a criminal record, to be found out specifically or caught for criminal activity, and that reflects on who can participate. And we see that as a consistent thing. So there's a lot of work from John Howard Society, both in Canada and the U.S., to get people who have incarceration records and criminal records back into the workforce, but coming against that barrier that there are a lot of people who may have these records. So it's important to remember that police checks can't be a catch-all for risk, especially for every volunteer role. It needs to be role by role. So you need to think about how are you doing more effective screening? Is it going to be more intensive interviews? Is it going to be role shadowing? Is it going to be more hands-on training? Is it changing the scope of supervision or what the on-ramp is to getting started? Training obviously is a huge part, like I said. And then the kind of the big overarching piece is really considering who is at risk. So really focusing on who is actually at risk here. Are you trying to protect your organization? Are you trying to protect the volunteer? Or are you trying to protect the client? Are you trying to protect a donor or a couple of donors? Like who are you thinking of? And then one piece I didn't mention in this whole conversation is about the cost. So here in Ontario, the more invasive checks cost money. And more often than not, it's the volunteers paying for it. So it's coming out of the volunteer pocket, but also the organization pocket, which we all know the volunteer engagement budget is smaller than every other budget. So are they going to get the money to cover those costs too? So all of these pieces kind of come together. What we like to say is we're not saying you should get rid of police checks, but you really need to take a deep look at it. You need to take a deep look at it. Is it important? In most organizations, it's usually some roles, but not all, or no roles. Our organization hasn't asked for these in a long time because we don't need them for our volunteers. We do everything else we can to make sure that we're making the right matches between the people who want to do these roles and the roles themselves so that the police check isn't part of the equation.
Thank you for those fantastic Tuesday tips, Sammy, on police checks and barriers and background checks. And I'm going to link to another video I did a couple of years ago on a similar subject. But I think you take the prize, you take the gold star of the day for summarizing such a complex topic. Thank you so much.